herd. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, FS1. If you haven't heard, Fox Sports landed Thursday Night Football, 5-year deal. A lot of happy people at Fox Sports today in FS1. Christine Leahy is joining me as we go hour number 2 today. So there's a big trade last night in the NFL. I was sitting around, and it was weird. Like these days on social media, when I see a story broken, I'm always like, don't retweet it. Make sure it's there's a lot of faux or fake like accounts. So I saw the story, and I'm like, I just interviewed Alex Smith today. I thought it was fake.
You did?
No, I thought I just talked to Alex today.
You thought he would give you a heads up on the air that he was going to get traded? Not even a heads up,
but you could tell if he was anxious or tense and he's moving his whole family. I'm like, this is a fake story. Washington said, we'll take him. Andy Reid's got a young quarterback. So Alex Smith, who I said yesterday, outside of maybe Mariota, is the fastest straight-line runner in the NFL. He led the NFL in passer rating. He's very good athletically. He's experienced. He's got a good, not a great arm. He doesn't push the ball vertically, and he's had some, November, December struggles later in seasons, but he's a total pro. And, one of the first things I thought about is this is not good news for the Dallas Cowboys. You can say what you want about Alex Smith. He's better than Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins throws a lot of picks. Alex Smith doesn't. Kirk Cousins is not athletic. Alex Smith is. Kirk Cousins doesn't have this experience and moxie of Alex Smith. And frankly, Alex Smith's been putting up good numbers, and now he gets Jay Gruden, and Jay Gruden's a really good offensive coach. So this is a win for Alex Smith. No more guy hovering behind him, and it's a win for Washington, and it's a loss for the Dallas Cowboys. Remember, the one quarterback in that division that Dak had his way with was Kirk Cousins. He was 4-0 against Kirk Cousins. Okay, Kirk Cousins just left. And so now it's Alex Smith, who I believe is absolutely – and remember, I was reading Chris Mortensen this morning. Chris Mortensen had a tweet, and Mort said, listen, Alex Smith is held in much higher regard in NFL circles than not only Kirk Cousins, but what fans perceive him to be. Coaches respect Alex Smith. You can win a lot of games with Alex Smith. You can win a lot – well, they have. Harbaugh won a lot of games with him. Andy Reid won a lot of games with him. He was the number one player. He got drafted above Aaron Rodgers. Guy can play. But I was sitting there thinking this morning – is one of the reasons that New England and Pittsburgh do very well in the AFC, and Peyton Manning did and Green Bay does, is because if you got the best quarterback, it is a humongous advantage, obviously, to get to the AFC or NFC championship of the Super Bowl. And I was sitting there thinking this morning, I don't remember a time in my life where there were this many good quarterbacks in one conference. In fact, outside of Arizona, and this has never happened in my life, outside of Arizona, every team in the NFC except the Cardinals, and they may go after Kirk Cousins. I think they will, and they'll probably have to overpay for him, and they probably will, because you have to have a quarterback in the NFC. Every team except Arizona starts the year with a franchise quarterback, either a young guy or an old guy. But I was sitting there thinking this morning, this is bad news for the Cowboys. Just think about the NFC quarterbacks. I'm not talking Brady and Big Ben and Andrew Luck. No, just NFC quarterbacks. Tier 1 in the NFC is Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Carson Wentz, Drew Brees, and I believe Jimmy Garoppolo. Tier 2 is Stafford, Cam, Matt Ryan, Goff, and Alex Smith. Tier 3, the final tier, I'd put Eli and Jameis Winston right now above Dak, and I like Dak. I do. I like Dak. I think he's a franchise quarterback. But you're not winning the NFC if you got the 13th best quarterback in the conference. In the history of the NFL, that has never happened. I'm not saying you have to have Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying you have to have Carson Wentz. I mean, Case Keenum and the Vikings went a long way. But if you want to regularly be in the NFC Championship, you can't have the 13th best quarterback. And Dak fell to the 4th round, and I like him. But if I'm looking around right now, and Sam Darnold and Josh Rosen may also end up in the NFC. So for everybody that thinks Jerry Jones and the Cowboys are like lifetime partners with Dak, go look at just the NFC quarterback rankings. I got Dak at 13th. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's 11th. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's better than Goff. But I saw Goff's numbers, and I saw him play head-to-head. Goff has a better touch, throws a better deep ball, and I think, frankly, is just a better arm talent. Alex Smith is not good for the Dallas Cowboys. Eddie House, 11-year NBA vet's good for us. Former NBA champ. Boston Celtics got things to say on a busy NBA day. Okay. I grew up with the NBA. You could push guys around. You could forearm check. You could hand check, Eddie. We're all gassed up on this triple-double thing. Like, I like the 60 points that James got last night. He's a nice offensive player. All I'm saying is it is a lot easier to get 60 today than 15 years ago. And Mike D'Antoni's system made Steve Nash, in Kobe, Duncan, and Shaq's prime, Steve Nash was the best player in the league. This system is built for guards to go off. It's a nice night for James Harden. It ain't the greatest Houston Rocket night I've ever seen, like their announcer said.
Let me say this real quick. If you ever get 60 points, I don't care when it was in the league, it's never hard. It's never hard to do that. Let me correct you on that. It's hard to get points in the league.
Yes.
It's hard to score.
But it's easier
60.
today.
It's easier to this point. It's not as physical. It's not as physical.
You can't hand check.
No, you can't hand check at all. It's just not as physical. But I don't think it's any easier to score.
So are you blowing?
You can think about it. When they had the illegal defense from rim to rim, it was imaginary line. They could really ISO you. If you crossed that line, you had to go double. So it was one-on-one. When they really said you were on an island, you were on an island. It's a little tougher now to get in that lane with the 2-9 and the defensive 3 seconds. You're allowed to even play zone nowadays. So it's a little. It could go either way, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it's tough to score in the NBA. Period.
I'm not saying it's easy to score. I just think this whole triple-double thing is guards now have the ball the whole game. I mean, if you can't shoot, you can't be Ben Wallace anymore. There's no place for Ben Wallace in the league. There's no place for Bo Outlaw. There's no place for Dennis Rodman. You got to be, listen, Eddie, you'd be great in today's game.
Oh, I would love it.
If you can't shoot, you can't play. It's a shooter's league. All I'm saying is that the league now, there are games in the NBA, 28 teams average over 100. That is all. I mean, when I was a kid, NBA games were 92-88, and that's what they were. They're 128, 124.
They were hard watches, too.
Well, I'm not saying they were a better watch.
They were tough watches.
Okay, so LeBron, yesterday Blake Griffin gets traded, or the day before, and LeBron had an interesting comment. I want to play this sound. This is LeBron James talking about players that get traded in the NBA, and, LeBron obviously is a very pro player. Here's what he said.
When a player gets traded, they was doing what's best for the franchise. But when a player decides to leave, he's not loyal. He's a snake. He's not committed. That's just that's the narrative of how it goes. So I'm definitely I know that firsthand.
My takeaway on this Blake trade is the Clippers called him a Clipper for life and then moved him to Detroit. If I'm an NBA player, Eddie, this is why I'm always looking over my shoulder. This is why I have no problem if I'm Kevin Durant. I'm like, bro, I see what you do to Blake Griffin, L.A. to Detroit. Like, you're a former player. How does this land for players?
I think LeBron hit it right on the head. That's exactly how it is. If you're a commodity to the team,
right,
and if they feel that they can get better pieces, they will get rid of you, no matter what kind of. Look, you see how they swoon Blake. So we'll raise your rafter. Your jersey in the rafter. You're gonna be a Clipper for life. And then had his plane ticket in their back pocket at the same time. You know what I mean? So I agree with LeBron. And then it's a problem when the player takes the power away from the organization and say, hey, this is where I want to go.
Yeah.
Then it becomes an issue. So I totally agree with LeBron. He's totally right with that.
I feel, and I said this with Kevin Love getting hurt. Listen, man, LeBron got the city a title. It just feels, Eddie, like to me, he is so out of Cleveland. It's just, listen, he left the Aqua Water, Pat Riley, Dwayne Wade, his best friend, Mickey Arison, a great franchise. He don't even like Dan Gilbert. Like, doesn't it feel like to you it's over?
Yeah, it seems like it's over. And if they're going to make a run now, as bad as they've been playing, they're still going to make the playoffs. They'll still finish third or fourth, depending with Kevin Love being out. And, Washington just got John Wall just got injured. If they make a move for, like everybody keeps talking about, DeAndre Jordan and Lou Williams, they're going to have to give away that Brooklyn pick. And LeBron's not going to come back because they're not going to win even with that. So I think that put a different spin on it. The Clippers will look good. Clippers will have 3 first-round picks. Then they'll be able to get another free agent. LeBron could come to the Clippers, and they can make something happen. That's making sense to me, more so than him going to the Lakers. Because the Lakers do have good pieces with Lonzo, with Kyle Kuzma, with Ingram. But can they make a legitimate run at the Warriors? I don't think so with that. If he was to go to the Clippers, they have 3 first-round picks. You could always make some moves with the first-round picks and get another veteran player, and then you bring another free agent. You might have something there to make some noise.
By the way, Steve, we haven't seen Lonzo play in a while. Lakers playing well. There was an absolute narrative, I would say for the first month as he struggled, that he was a bust. And I just don't see the bust thing. Now, I don't think he's overly athletic. He's not a great athlete, so I don't see him as a superstar. What is your takeaway on Lonzo?
My takeaway is I think people got caught up more so in his father and not looking at what his body of work is. I think the last 4 years, you have one guy that's averaged 10 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists.
Who?
Draymond Green, all-star, right? And this year he's averaging about 10 points, the same exact at what Lonzo's doing. But he has Kevin Durant, he has Klay Thompson, he has Steph Curry over there. So you look at Lonzo's numbers, the same as Draymond's, he's a bust. But you look at Draymond's number, he's an all-star. So I'm trying to figure out, I thought the numbers are the numbers, right? And you look at production.
You could make an argue Lonzo's doing it with much less talent.
You don't have to
it's
make
harder
it.
to get an assist when I'm passing to Brandon Ingram than Steph.
It's definitely harder what Lonzo's doing without the weapons that Draymond has. But not taking anything away from Draymond, but you look at Draymond and say that's an all-star. And then you look at Lonzo and say that's a bust. I think for the most part, it's people who don't like his father.
Yeah, listen, his dad is got a very, they always talk about a president's approval rating. I think LeVar's approval rating is very low. That is my takeaway on LeVar Ball's approval rating.
That has nothing to do with his son's game.
No, it doesn't. And I know, listen, that's just the way the world works. A lot of people are just turned off by the whole thing.
Right.
They're turned off by the whole thing. Yeah, that Blake Griffin thing with that trade is, you like Blake's game. My knock on Blake has always been, is that, listen, man, you got to adapt in this league. And he feels like a Hummer in a league full of Teslas. Like, you got to be able to shoot. He's shooting 23% in mid-range games, and he's hurt, Eddie, all the time.
I think that's the biggest thing, that he's always injured. He worked on his game. He developed that elbow jumper. He hit the 15-foot jumper from the baseline. He really worked on his post moves a little bit. One thing that I think he's very underrated at is getting the rebound and pushing it on the break himself and making plays and making decisions. I think that's an attribute.
He's a better ball handler today than when he broke into the league.
I think that's an attribute that, a lot of bigs don't have like that, especially the way he plays, the power game. So
you like him?
I like it. I like.
Do you like
Blake's
him
game.
for $107 million?
You're
going to be stuck with that.
But they had to play some. They had to pay somebody. Clippers had to pay somebody. Once they traded Chris Paul, they had to pay somebody to say, hey, man, we're not just mailing it in.
See, that was my takeaway. They remember, Christy and I talked about this. I said they signed Blake, not because they love Blake. They signed Blake because
he's a star.
And it's Los Angeles. And they got USC football and Dodger baseball and Angel baseball and NHL. And I got the Lakers. And you got to sell tickets in this league. This is not like Orlando. It's the only game in town in Disney World. Like, if you don't have a star, people won't go to your games.
And also, they know that if they needed to move him, you could get some assets for him, like they did. They got Tobias Harris, very good player.
Yeah, nice player.
Very good player.
Avery
Bradley, good defender. And then the first and second round pick. I mean, they got a lot of assets for that.
Eddie House, good seeing you, bud.
I see you too, man.
Mike Vick, Greg Olson, Keenan Allen around the corner today. You've heard me talk about the shave I get with Dollar Shave Club. I'm not a Wolverine. I don't have a heavy beard, but I do have to shave every day. And when I use Dr. Carver's shave butter, it makes it so smooth. They've got products for the hair, the face, the skin, the shower, everything you need. They use high-quality premium ingredients. And right now, if you wanted to be a member, but you're confused by it or it's too expensive, or at least that's your perception, they're giving you right now as good a deal as you'll ever get to get into this club. $5 is all it costs. $5. You get their best razor and travel-sized versions of their body cleanser and shave butter. $5, that's it. And after that, replacement cartridges ship for a couple of bucks a month. It's the Dollar Shave Club starter set. This is the best deal they will ever offer you. And if you've paused, you've not sure, this is it. $5. DollarShaveClub.com/Colin. COLIN.
Can Marcus Foster trade?